Marcus Henry. King Von situation is more than a conspiracy theory, like legit
Oh,
evidence. Look it up. It's crazy. After
hmm.
he died, a lot of people looked into it and found that he has 7 bodies total and associated with 4 more. Yikes. See, this is why I don't associate with
Wait,
rappers.
but was King Von a rapper?
I think so.
Okay, well, all the rappers, especially back in the 90s, had bodies. All of them. Tupac, Biggie, they all had
Why?
bodies. Like, don't even argue with me on that. I grew up in Vegas. They all had bodies. I'm just telling you right now.
It was all a dream. I used to read Word Up magazine. Some type of heavy D up
I
in the
thought that
limousine.
They
Tupac
all had
wasn't even
bodies.
like a thug. He like went to Juilliard and shit, and they just made him
Wow. A
pretend
fancy
that he
thug.
was like
Wait,
a
who?
thug.
Pac? Who you
What's
say?
that?
Who you say?
Tupac.
Oh, Pac.
Mhm.
Listen, I believe you. However, he
You
ended up
knew
getting caught up
very
in that
well
movement somehow,
who
and he
you
ended up
are.
DED dead.
Mhm.
So
Reach for
I
the
feel bad for
stars.
him. I believe you. I
You
can
gotta
totally see that, but
go, but not
he's
that
still
Yeah,
like,
who knows?
way, 'cause you're the only
He's probably not
one.
even dead.
I give you good and
he's like,
plenty.
I'm
Super
uncomfortable.
Nintendo, Sega Genesis.
Listen, all I know is if you come to Vegas and you want to see where the spot where Pac got RAP'd, I know where to go. Just hit me up.
Tuggs, you
Didn't you
strike
catch
me as the
someone
kind of white
recently
girl
that
that has
did
a
it?
lot of black friends. Am I wrong?
Yeah, I have black friends. I got street cred.
That from you. LeeAnn, I get that from you too. Carmen, not so much from you.
Oh, I have lots of black friends.
I
Sure
grew up
you
in the
do.
hood.
Sure you do.
I do. I grew up
Mhm. Yeah,
I
I
don't
like
give off
actually
that
grew up in
vibe
like a
at
real
all.
hood with
I
murders
give off
and
I give off the vibe like maybe I have one black friend and it's Bryson Gray.
Listen, I grew up. If you are familiar with Vegas at all, hi. But if you're not, I grew up on the east side of town, which is
Mm.
the ghetto side of town. So I have what we like to call street cred. I personally I read a lot, so technically book smarts, but no, I have street cred.
That's not how you get street cred.
I can walk into the most ghetto like Smith's, Walmart, whatever, and I'll be fine because I have quote unquote street cred. I have that. I can adapt that
You
way.
have that you're saying you have that Cup Foods energy.
Yeah,
where
I
you
can
just
walk that way. I can talk that way.
Mhm.
Like I can blend in that way, even though I'm
You
100%
can show up with a
white girl.
counterfeit 20
Yeah, I
and work
can
your
blend
way
in.
around.
There are
Okay.
people who are one or the other. There is no in
Okay.
between. You're either one or the other. And
I
depending
wanna
on
see
where you grow up, like you either like a lot of the New Yorkers can blend in as like quote unquote street cred. So I
Mhm.
got you. But there
I
are
just walk
people
with a
who grew up
limp.
and are like,
That's how I try to fit in.
I'm scared and I can't walk through this store because it's in the ghetto and you look like a freaking duck out of water kind of thing. Like,
Mm.
no, you walk in like you own the place, respectively.
Mm.
So you walk in like you own the place and you don't let anybody mess with you. And that's what you call street cred. I never had any problem. I grew up in the ghetto. I grew up in a full-on like black versus white gang fight. Never had any problem. It's fine. You just gotta have the cred. So, when
I
I
had a
tell
little bit of
you,
street cred
talk was
after
a
I
hot mess.
fell.
Talk
After I
was a hot
fell playing mini golf, I had a bit of a limp for a few days. So I had some
back.
street cred, but it
She's
was
got street
wasted
cred.
on Ocean City. Yeah.
She has North Las Vegas is the trenches. Rekka, I live in North Las Vegas. You get it.
He's
Exactly.
from the
Street
streets.
cred. I
Yeah,
live in
I
North
grew up
Las
in a
Vegas.
school that was like D1, and there was one black family in the entire school.
Oh, what's that like?
It was.
Reason is saying you have no street cred, Tuggs.
I do.
Who said that?
What's the cred that?
The
Listen,
chat doesn't think you have any street cred,
that's
Tuggs.
fine. That's okay. You don't have to believe me.
Tuggs,
It's
how
okay.
many bikes of yours were stolen growing up?
Zero.
That doesn't sound like you have a street cred.
That sounds like Owen Benjamin.
I think you get
Zero.
5 points of street cred per bike stolen.
Mm-mm. Okay. So, when I was in middle school, I went to O'Callahan Middle School, which was on the east side,
Sounds
far
pretty
east.
white.
Yeah. O'Callahan Middle School. And right at the time it was right before 9/11. So it must have been 7th, 8th grade-ish. We had a Mexican gang from LA move in.
Cholos?
And no, the 13 somethings. I don't remember. 13 somethings was the gang. They moved in, but O'Callahan was run by a black gang whose name I can never remember. I'd have to ask my dad. but they were a black gang, and this Mexican gang from LA was moving in on their territory. So it was the blacks versus the Mexican gangs, and the white
like West Side
people,
Story. Like,
yeah, the white people were caught in the middle. And so luckily I had a Mexican friend, and he would protect me and like escort me to class. It was wild. But everybody got into fights. It was insane. And then in high school, I went to El Dorado High School. Look it up. El Dorado High School, which is number one. I'm not to brag about it because it's terrible, but number one at the time was number one in like teenage pregnancy. Is like, I mean, it was the ghetto.
that's street
So I
cred
went
if you get
to-
pregnant as a teen.
I went
That's
to
more
that
street
high
cred.
school, and my junior year, a friend of mine was murdered, literally straight up
More
murdered.
street cred.
Yeah, by a gang as a gang initiation, and it was white versus black. Like
Jesus
we had cops,
Christ.
we had wanted. It was bad, so it was a thing. And I, not to my own horn, but I ended up unscathed. And I have a cop as
Shoot
a
it.
father. I have a police officer as a father, and I ended up unscathed in gang territory high school. So you're welcome. Come at me, bro.
Wow.
See,
Come at me.
how's that for street cred, chat?
You're good.
M13 Salvadorian, right?
What?
M13s, I think they're Salvadorian.
Yeah. This was the
Ooh.
Mexican version. Whatever I can't remember the name of it now because it's been,
Oh,
and they've changed their name like I
Choco
don't even know how many
Tacos.
times, 20 years ago. But
Mhm.
the M13 version of Mexicans was the gang. Yeah.
That sounds legit.
Yeah. It was bad. Like I had my friend Francisco was jumped in the bathroom by the black gang in middle school. We're 13. He was beaten so bad he had to go to the emergency room. It was bad.
Ugh.
Like
How much street
awful.
cred do you think that gained him?
Not he's Mexican, so.
All right, couple more super chats for LeeAnn, then she has to bounce. Marcus Henry, LeeAnn, you from the hood. You should know about KV.
I don't.
She didn't know about it.
I heard of his name before, but I think I'm getting him mixed up with someone else. But I'm just gonna look into it just because I want to see what the
curious.
deal is.
Dave Chandler, hey, the National Enquirer nailed John Edwards. Wow, true. I love a good National Enquirer.
John Edwards.
Uh-oh. Okay, someone is saying, I don't like naggers with an A. Tuggs is so ghetto. There you go. See, I agree with this person. Tuggs has that peach. You can tell she grew up around black people. I agree, Marcus. I agree. I agree.
I got a booty. It's true.
Crash override. Biden goes high. His voters go low. Thanks for the super
Oh,
chat,
God.
Marcus Henry. You got to get Plain Lady on here. Dude, I am trying. I have been trying to reach out to Victoria Gomez and her team for what feels like weeks. Cajun Corey, hugs for ghetto Tuggs.
Hi, Corey. No, but seriously, listen, not to throw my sister on the bus, but I'm going to. She's the only one in our neighborhood who got beat up. I never did.
Oh.
So, street cred.
Street cred. Thank you, Sam, for the super chat. Speaking of cred, Chrissie doing karaoke into a hypnotic bottle is peak white girl. Thank you very much. LeeAnn has to bounce. My God, this 2 hours absolutely flew by.
It flew by.
It did.
I don't
It
think
did.
we
I
even
didn't
got
even
to any
realize it was
topics.
11.
We have 0 topics. It's fine.
0
You know what, it's
topics
okay.
logged.
I feel like we talked about like so many different things. It's like a
I was
variety.
supposed to talk about my
It was a
street
lot.
cred.
Street cred. I'm telling you, listen.
How much street cred do I have? Okay, one
You
black
do.
girl.
I bet you anything, Chrissie.
Okay,
I could
here's
walk
my
in
street
New
cred.
York.
Ready? Are you ready for it? We had 2 delis at the middle school growing up.
See?
We referred to them as the regular deli and the Spanish deli. They were next to each other, and I was challenged to a fight by this black girl. I think her name was Shaniqua. And guess what? Guess who showed up for the fight, and guess who didn't? I showed up for the fight.
And
Guess who didn't?
Shaniqua didn't
Shaniqua
every
was
single
nowhere
time.
to be
Yeah.
found. She couldn't handle all this. And thank
Yep.
God I didn't have to fight somebody that day because I would have died. I would have perished.
You know what though? You showed up. That's the point. That's the point. That's what people don't understand. When I say like street cred, I mean like you showed up for the fight.
Mhm.
I would walk home from the most
And
ghetto
guess where the
school
fight
ever and
took
not worry
place?
about it. Like, yeah.
By the Spanish deli. And let me tell you, the delis were like night and day. The white deli, we called it the regular deli, which just gives you a sense of where we were at. I'm talking bagels with white paper, I'm talking nice peach Snapples. Like that's where you, if your parents had money and they like gave you a $10 or $20 bill and you went and got your lunch, you'd get it from the regular deli. But if you were like scrapping together, like if you're like me or digging for coins like a raccoon out of like the family change bucket
Oh,
every
God.
day, you'd go to the Spanish deli where they had loose candy, like random. You could buy Lucy cigarettes there, but
Mm.
definitely like you could buy those juicy jugs. You could buy the Arizona iced teas.
Oh,
Like
Arizona.
I felt more like the Spanish deli was more my speed comfort wise. Like I felt like those were mi gentes because I had 25 cents and I was like, how far can I make this go? You know? And but the kids with the pop collars and no stains on their clothes, they'd come out with their white deli bags with their Snapples and their bagels. And I was like, oh, isn't it nice to be you? But all the fights happened by the Spanish deli. Anyway, thank God she didn't show up because I would have fucking died because I had no skills. Anyway,
You know what though? The fact that you showed up shows balls, and that's what got you respect.
I did
and that's
show
the
up.
bottom line.
Yeah,
That's the
yeah.
bottom line.
Sneeko,
Because
if
you
you're
show
watching,
up,
I'm
and
so
that's
happy
the-
you didn't show up because you would have kicked my ass.
That's the point. Because she
And
was a
Sobe,
chicken.
thank you. The Sobe, remember the Orbits drink? The drinks where you'd shake them and the balls would float around.
Yes.
Yeah, Sobe, Orbits,
Yep.
the juicy jugs, the ones where you would twist off like the squeezy jugs,
Oh, Sobe.
the little like basically grenades
Mm.
full of juice grenades. Ugh, like the quarter juicy jugs. My
They
God,
don't make Sobeys anymore. I guess
I don't think
not.
so. I think a lot of these drinks got outlawed because a lot of them were like full of cancer and shit.
That's a bummer. I liked Sobe. I thought they were
Yeah.
good. And what's Calypso? Is it Calypso? That's a good one too.
Mhm. And those loose candies, fuck.
Calypso.
I want to go back there and see how everyone's doing. Anyway,